Hi everyone, welcome to Zenden, a safe space to calm your mind and body. I am out here by the swimming pool today, so the light might change a little bit throughout this video, but I'll do my best to make it look nice whilst I'm editing. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be doing a very short practice on the mat. So let's start by finding a seated position. I personally find crossing my legs comfortable with my hands placed on my knees. You might otherwise want to try Badikanasana with the soles of your feet together, or otherwise Hero's Pose on your knees. So whichever one feels comfortable to you, we're going to go ahead and get comfortable there. Maybe close your eyes or have a soft gaze in front of you. And we're just going to take note of how our body feels today. So noticing your feet, just bringing the attention there, not changing anything, not judging anything, just noticing how your feet feel. Moving the attention up your legs, noticing how they feel. Moving the attention to your hips and your pelvis, up your back. Noticing how your back feels, the muscles and the bones. Moving the attention to your tummy and to your chest. Again, noticing how they feel in this moment. Moving the attention to your shoulders, to your arms, your hands and your fingers. Moving the attention to your neck, the back of your head, your face, your eyes, your mouth, your jaw, relaxing the jaw. Maybe relax your tongue from top of the mouth. And we're going to sit here in silence for just a little moment, just meditating on how we feel. Maybe paying attention to the breath, following your breath through your body as you inhale and exhale. Maybe you can feel your heartbeat. As we gently start to open our eyes, we're going to start today's practice. So today I'm actually going to start in tabletop position. So if you bring your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips, and we're going to start off with some cat-cow. So on the inhale, you're going to drop your belly and lift your gaze up to the sky. And on the exhale, round your spine and look down towards your knees. Let's do that 5 more times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And the last 2 you can do with your own timing, your own breath. And back to a neutral spine. I'm going to walk my hands forward ever so slightly, tuck my toes and come up into a plank position. So when we're ready, 1, 2, 3, lift up, straight back. I'm going to stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees come back down, and let's press back into child's pose. Hips go back to the heels and your forehead comes down to the mat. From a child's pose position, keeping our hands extended out in front of us, we're going to curve and roll the spine forwards into a Cobra position. So you come down onto your tummy and lift the chest and lift the gaze up to the sky. And then start to lift up and press back into a child's pose, but keeping your feet and your knees vertical and aligned so they're straight and pressed back. You might want to move with the breath, so inhale, lift up, start to roll the spine and come down to a Cobra, and then roll all the way back again. So as we're doing these movements, really pay attention to your spine. So as I'm coming up, I'm really curving my spine into a cat pose, and then slowly bring the hips down, and then I roll up my neck, and then the other way, roll my neck first, start to roll my spine, push through to a cat, pressing all the way up and back to a child's pose position almost. So you can start to move here with your own rhythm, your own speed, and just noticing what feels good for you and doing that. Just flowing your body in your own way. When we feel ready, let's come down onto our tummies, and we're going to prop ourselves up onto our elbows. So propping up on your left elbow to start off with. We're going to bend the left knee, and you might be able to reach your right arm and your right hand round to meet your left foot, and bring your left foot in towards your bottom so that you're stretching your hamstrings here. Remembering to stay upright on your left elbow. And what we can do from here is start to lower down onto your left shoulder. Maybe even twist the body round. I think this one is called cat's tail. So your right knee is on the ground. You're holding onto your left foot with your right hand, your spine is twisting, and this is such a great pose to twist your spine and to stretch some muscles in your body. We're not staying here for long. 3, 2, 1. Gently roll back over. We'll do the same on the opposite side. So bring your right elbow onto the ground. We're going to support ourselves using our right elbow. Bend your right knee. We're going to hold on to the right foot with the left hand. It's going to stretch your right quads. So holding that for a couple of seconds. And then if you want to, you can roll over. I'm struggling to do this with my microphone. I'm just going to unplug it so I can get into this pose properly. There we go. So opening up your spine, twisting round with your right arm flat on the floor, your left knee on the floor, and your left hand is holding onto your right foot. This is called cat's tail, I believe. I only saw this for the first time a week or two ago, and I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to teach it in one of my classes as well. So I'll stay here for 3, 2, 1, and let's roll back around and press back up into a seated position. So from a seated position here, we're going to do reverse tabletop. So if you bring your hands behind you and your fingers are pointing towards your bottom, your feet are flat on the floor, your knees are bent, and on the count of 3 we're going to lift up into a reverse tabletop. So you lift your hips up to the sky, pushing through your hands and through your feet. So 1, 2, 3, lift up and press your hips up to the sky as high as you can. Let's hold this for 3, 2, 1, and back down. Let's move into Badikanasana. Soles of the feet come together. You have 3 options here. You can either hold onto your knees, your shins, or your ankles. And with a nice straight spine, maybe wiggle out a little bit so that you're comfortable. What I like to do is press my knees down with my elbows and start to lean forwards, again with a straight spine. So we're not curving here, we're not hunching over, just nice straight spine, leaning forwards. This is going to be a really great hip opener. and it might feel really good in your body. This is one of my favourite poses. I think I teach it in pretty much every class. So if you've been doing any of my other classes on YouTube, you might be familiar to this one. And when we're ready, we're going to press back up. Let's come back onto all fours, so in tabletop position. We're going to press up into a plank. Let's hold this for 3, 2, 1, and bring your right knee towards your right elbow. Hold it there for 3, 2, 1, and then lower the foot and the leg down as we move into Pigeon Pose. So you straighten out your left leg, untuck your left toes, maybe wiggle about a little bit until you find the comfortable position for you. You can either stay upright or you can come down onto your forearms and your elbows, and you might feel a nice stretch around your right hip here, the outside of your right hip. The other option is to stack 2 fists on top of each other and rest your forehead on top of your fists, or you can come all the way down to bring your forehead to the mat if that is accessible to you. That's personally a bit too much for me. I like to stay on my forearms and stay lifted and really move the attention to your hip. So don't focus on anything else, don't focus on your breathing, don't focus on any sounds that you hear or anything you've got to do later on today. Bring the attention just to your right hip. Just noticing how that right hip feels. And maybe on your exhale, start to soften any tension that you might be holding in your hips. Our hips hold a lot of emotions, and this, for me personally, is a great pose to release some of those emotions and to release some of that tension. So as I exhale, I actively just relax those muscles, relax that part of my body. And when we feel ready, I'm going to slightly roll onto my right hip, press back up into a tabletop position, and you can kind of move that right hip. So I like to swing forwards and backwards. Maybe you want to do some hip rotations, just something to bring some energy back into that hip and move it around a little bit more. Okay, back in tabletop position. And then lift up into a plank position, so tuck the toes and press up for 3, 2, 1. Left knee to left elbow for 3, 2, 1, and then lower that leg and that foot back down. Lower down your right foot, your right leg, untucking your right toes. Again, you might want to have a little bit of a wiggle around here until you find the comfortable position for you. And you can either stay upright or you can start to lower down. Again, I like to go onto my forearms. Other people like to use a block or both of their fists stacked on top of each other to rest your forehead. Or some people even go all the way down and rest their forehead on the mat. But so wherever you are today, we're going to do the same as with the right hip. So bringing the attention to your left hip. So don't think about breathing, don't think about what you've got to do the rest of the day. Just thinking about that left hip, bringing all of your attention to that part of your body. And as I said with the right side, on your exhales, you might want to gently relax that part of your body. Release any tension that you might be feeling. If you need to wiggle around a little bit to get comfortable, you do you. So again, on your exhales, releasing any tension that you might be holding in your hips, especially your left hip that we're focusing on right now. With the exhales, try to relax into the pose. And when we feel ready, we can kind of roll onto the left hip, press ourselves back up into a tabletop position. And again, we're going to move that left hip, so you might want to swing your leg forwards and backwards, which is what I like to do. Maybe do some hip rotations. Just finding some movement and some energy in that left hip. Let's come back to a seated position. We're going to move into boat pose. So bring your feet flat on the mat, your knees are bent, with a nice straight spine and your chest is lifted. Start off by holding onto the back of your knees, and we're going to slowly, maybe lift one foot at a time, maybe try and lift both feet, and balance on your hip bones here. So I like to lift my toes up to the sky, engage your core, engaging your arms, holding onto your legs, straight back, chest is lifted. If you want to start extending one arm and then maybe both arms, you can do that as well. The other option is to point your toes down to the floor. I know people teach boat pose slightly differently, depends on what you're after today, so do either foot option or alternate. You can move your feet, so bring your feet pointing upwards, point your toes down, point your toes up, point your toes down, and let's bring our feet back down to the mat. And we can lay down. So let's lay down on the mat. Keeping your knees bent, we're going to actually extend the left leg flat onto the mat and hug your right knee into your chest. Hugging it in nice and tight, extending the left foot through the left heel, so really extending that left leg and really hugging in that right leg, that right knee. I'm going to extend the right arm out beside us and cross the right knee over the left side of the body for a gentle supine twist. So we're not staying here for long. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and roll back, and we're going to swap sides. So right leg goes flat on the mat and hug the left knee in, so extend through your right heel, so you're really pushing your right heel away and bringing your left knee into your chest. Really hugging in that left knee, and when we feel ready, we're going to cross the left knee over the right side of the body with the left arm extended out to the side, and you can start to twist for a gentle supine twist. Again, we're not staying here for too long. Maybe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to center. And you can extend both legs out in front of you. We're going to move into Shavasana. So I personally like to have my feet at the corners of the mat, and my arms, I bend my elbows and rest my hands on my tummy and kind of on my hip bones, and that's what's comfortable for me. But do whatever feels comfortable for you as we lay here for a couple of moments in Shavasana. You might want to wriggle your shoulders, move your pelvis, maybe tuck your tailbone, move your pelvis around, and finding what feels good for you. And then let's run through a quick body scan like we did at the beginning of the practice. So bring the attention to your feet and just noticing how your feet feel, noticing any sensations. We're not altering or trying to change the way they feel, just noticing. Moving the attention up the legs, to your pelvis and your hips. Again, noticing any sensations, moving the attention up the back, up the spine, noticing the muscles and the bones, moving the attention to the tummy and the chest, all the way up to the shoulders, down the arms and down to the hands and the fingers. Noticing any sensations, not judging your body, just paying attention. Moving the attention to your neck, to the back of your head, to your face, your eyes, your eyebrows, your mouth. Relaxing your jaw and bring the tongue from the top of the mouth. And pay attention to your breath as we lay here in Shavasana. Noticing your inhales and exhales as we lay here for a couple of moments. And when you feel ready, I invite you to start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, maybe rotate your wrists and your ankles. You might want to come onto your right hand side and meet me in a seated position on the mat. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really hope you enjoyed this class. Have a wonderful day and I hope to see you soon. Bye.